And I want to welcome you all back to Harness Your Intuition. What I have been asked to do is to start us off with a channeling and a transmission of energies for all of us. It's a message that the universe wants to bring through me. And then we will go into the regularly scheduled program and talk about how this week has been for you, how things have evolved, how you've interacted with your intuition. And then I will go back into channel and depending on the timing, we'll determine whether we want to have you ask specific questions of the universe and experience that. It can be pretty powerful, and it's always relevant for everybody, no matter who asks the question. Or if we will move into something different, and I'm getting that we'll be asking questions. I will also present to you an opportunity to deepen into some of what we've learned, as well as expand your toolkit. And we'll go into more detail about that later. But in the meantime, let me drop in further into channel and bring through the message. We are so grateful that you each have stepped up to participate in this work. There are no accidents, and you indeed are here on purpose. For you are part of the contingent of individuals who are what you call the light workers on the planet. Whether you acknowledge or not, whether your contribution is in corporate America in a regular job, your job as a soul on the planet Earth is to assist with the awakening of the planet and assist with the elevation of consciousness for all beings on the planet. And we want you to know that it is not only the humans that you are supporting, it is the animal and plant life and the earth herself. There is much nuance to what it is you are bringing. Simply by walking on her earth, you are transmitting frequencies that support the evolution, because you are indeed the holder of these frequencies, and each one of you is unique in what you bring. And we are hearing, but how can I do this and still take care of myself? How can I do this and make a living? You will be provided the resources you need, and it is an opportunity to step into deeper trust and play with the universe in a way that we can bring to you that which is yours. You have all heard the saying, what you want wants you. And that is truth. And that is how we co-create opportunity to fulfill resource needs for you on the planet. We understand that in this time, it is about some of the more 3D human constructs that you are still navigating. We understand this. And we are here to ensure that those needs are met. And as you trust and co-create with us, allow us to fill those needs, so too will you dance with us and allow us to bring to you the opportunities that will allow you to move into your light worker status in deeper and deeper waves. And this does not stop. You do not stop evolving the light worker beingness within you. You are all essential. You will awaken hundreds, if not thousands. You simply walking through the grocery store, you are emanating a resonance that people can brush up against, and it awakens something within them. It is not always about the overt experiences. It is also about those subtle experiences. And yes, we will create the opportunity to move us into a time where you can ask questions, for we hear them. We hear them in the background. Your questions are floating across your minds. How, what, where, all of those details. And we ask that, as stated, you allow us to be in co-creation with you. And we will close this transmission now. I don't think they've ever done that before. They just turned it off, like, nope, we're done. I think they're trying to keep me focused. Not always an easy task. Wow. Yeah, that was interesting. And relevant. And important. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to share screen. And this time when we move into the conversations, I'm going to take the PowerPoint off the screen so that we can see each other. I think that's important. And I apologize, I didn't do this in the last recording. Giddy up. Here we go. So, welcome back. I know that for me, the week has been fascinating, like absolutely fascinating in so many ways. So, up until now and through what we've already covered, you've identified your gifts, you spent your abilities. I need to change that. They're abilities, they're not gifts. They're abilities that you have that want a seat at the table. And what I want to do is take this time to discuss, how has this week occurred for you? What has come to your attention? How have you felt? How have you navigated the time? And how have your tools and abilities made themselves known? And how were you able to harness them for your own knowing, for your own evolution, to further your experience? Well, that's next. So, would anybody like to start sharing?
Teresa, I'll kick us off.
Okay.
I think just at kind of a energetic global high level is, goes back to trust, right? And when we start seeing our own intuition and how it's playing out through the day or through the moment, is really not, I'm learning to lean into it and to be more trusting versus questioning. And I think being that, I always love it when you say, step back and be the observer and really revel in the moment that is happening when you're getting the intuition and the information coming in. And I think also for myself is not always feeling like I have to be reactionary with the information or even do anything with it besides just accept it and acknowledge it. And as simple and as rudimentary as that probably seems, it's been, um, I think, impactful for me because I don't feel like I have to be in action mode, and I can sit back and just kind of revel in the joy that comes through versus the doing of, okay, it's A plus B equals C, and what part of the process and the flow am I in? And I think just relying on the guidance and trusting the guidance, really, I mean, it sounds so simple, and I don't know, I look and I think, well, gosh, why haven't I been doing this all the time? And it's keeping myself in check with that.
Yep. Yeah, that's brilliant, Heidi. Thank you so much for sharing. And it is trust. It is the more we acknowledge what's coming in, the more that comes in, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's that ripple effect too that I just absolutely love of skipping the rock and watching. And, I think that relates and ties back into the channeling of we don't even probably realize the impact that we're having when we're out and about. And whether it's with people, plants, animals, all of that, it's all energy. And we're doing the sharing and the interacting, even if we're not speaking.
Yeah. And I think that's so important because we are such a doing focused society. What am I doing now?
Mhm.
And it all comes out of the mental constructs, right? And we have to think of what we need to do next, which puts a tremendous amount of pressure on ourselves.
Mhm.
And it's not our doing optimally is informed by our being. And I can speak from experience, the more that we align with our being, our soul self in a human body, the greater the opportunity to exercise doing becomes. And I want to, as I worked on each of you who signed up, and there's several who just couldn't make this time work because of they have jobs and such. In contrast to when I did this class in January, the power and the abilities were so much stronger than last January. It was very surprising to me, and that showed up in several ways. Number one, the ease in which you received the new integrated transmissions. It was like everybody was this sponge, like, yep, let's do this. I'm ready. Let's do this. And there was far less resistance, and there was far less um, selective acceptance. So for some people, they were like, I'll take that and that, but I don't want that yet. So I would have to put it in this little bundle and leave it in their field for them to discover later. Right? They were just like, no, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for knowing all that. There was far less of that. This time it was, yes, we're ready. And the acceptance of all the abilities, multiple abilities for all of you was very strong. Nobody was, I just want to focus on knowing. Y'all were like, no, give them all to me. And they'll time out, right? So they'll what do I mean by timeout? They'll um open and evolve when the time is right, but they're all active, which is to me incredible. My whole career, and I've been doing this for over 20 years. I don't think I've ever seen the energy of the individual more open and accepting to what's available. It's truly incredible. And that speaks to what you just said, Heidi, the trust. I trust that somehow this whole thing fits in my life. I may not know how, but I trust that this is unfolding, and I'm going to say yes because I feel safe enough to say yes. That's a tremendous leap in humanity. And then we've got all of you all who are like this layer, who are the facilitators and the light workers and the I'm going to say facilitators. I don't want to say healers and psychics because those are labels that you can accept or not accept. And that's a conscious choice, right? But you're all facilitators. You just need to, like, I'm still trying to figure out all the ways in which I can facilitate. I'm still taking classes. I start one tonight. I mean, I don't think the learning ends, right? And it's in these incredibly beautiful circles that the learning accelerates when we come together, when we work together, that it accelerates beyond the beyond, in my opinion. And it's more fun. Yeah, I'm just so honored to be able to do this work. When I feel into it, it just brings me to tears. It's just such an honor, and I want you all to feel this for what you're bringing to the planet. I want you to feel the awe and wonder and joy and gratitude because you've stepped into that authentic soul expressed place within you. That's what this is about.
Teresa, and I think
And
that we get that through what we're working on in alchemy, right? Is we
mhm.
experience that without the doing, but taking the self-care for ourselves and really kind of immersing our own self in love and joy. And it doesn't have to be a thing, it can just be a feeling.
Yeah, it can. And that's a great platform to launch from,
Mhm.
and to kind of stew in. And I can hear the voices in the background. It is not always easy. And I don't want to leave the impression that everything is happy, happy, joy, joy. I really want to make sure that I state that. I had a really challenging weekend. Like, really challenging. My Facebook got hacked 8 times in the space of 3 days. And I kept recovering it, and then recovering it, and then I couldn't recover it, and they locked it again. I mean, and then the human interactions. And then I had nightmares for the first time in decades because I was clearing. So it's both, right? But it's how do we navigate the challenges? How do we navigate the challenges? How accepting can we be? And if we do something, can we forgive ourselves and understand the wisdom of what wanted to be learned? I'm still trying to figure out the Facebook wisdom. So anybody gets any hits, let me know. But because that was something. Yeah. Thanks for letting me share. Anik, did I see you come off mute? Do you want to share?
Of course, yes, I'd love to share. I'm gonna jump on the not speaking that Heidi was talking about. And it's interesting because I told you I'm no longer at my employer. I haven't even told my children. I haven't really talked to anyone because I really feel this is what I need to do is to focus. And I do find that I'm much more clear, much more focused, which was something that I was had been asking for. And so to give you an example, you know, in the inner MBA, we have to do the personal plan of action. And I just submitted it this morning. You know, it's just for me, but I feel that I'm able, because I'm more focused, to complete, to bring to a close many of my projects that I'm doing with much more ease and joy and you know, much more relaxed. I mean, you know, I don't think that a few years ago being out of a job and relaxed went together in the other personality, I'm gonna call it. And I loved how you talked about there's 1,000 signs. So of course, in the past week, I've been looking for all those signs, and I'm noticing much more. I do find though that sometimes it's as if I make up signs, or you know, sometimes I realize like that's my intuition and that's something else from the worldly thing that I need to distinguish. But you also mentioned alchemy. And so I went, you know, I just looked up alchemy because I didn't know much about alchemy. And then I found a text on spiritual alchemy where it explains how fire, you know, the 7 stages of spiritual alchemy, which is fire turns into ash, your attachment. That's the first stage. And then once that stage is over, it's ash dissolves in water. That's your identity dissolving. And then the third stage is air, and that will let go of the negative emotions. And then earth. So earth brings it back together, your feminine, masculine emotion and intuition versus logic and intellect. And then 5, 6, 7, they call it phoenix, and I'm gonna call it metal because it's also related. But what's super interesting is that those elements I'm talking about is exactly what I'm learning in yoga in a course that's called emotion, the anatomy of emotions. And he talks about qigong and, you know, the Chinese elements and so metal, and that's where you feel whole again. So I thought like that text was really fascinating. And yeah, I just loved how it's sort of showing me a way that of transforming that I'm going through. So yeah, a lot of excitement this week for me this week.
Oh my, that is amazing, Anik. I love the curiosity and the playfulness you're having with your intuition and how it's leading you down roads to give you deeper and greater information. And I also want to honor that introducing discernment. What is for me, what is not for me, and what is a message and what is not a message. That's huge. Because I think discernment, honing our discernment occurs throughout our whole life. It's part of life's journey. Um, but you've really tapped in there. That's great. Congratulations. I'm so excited to see where you're gonna land and what's gonna unfold for you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for sharing. Would anybody else like to go next?
I can share. I was very distracted this past week, and so I did not do any homework. I didn't do any focusing on this. I didn't do any thinking about it, but I am trying to prepare for an upcoming trip. And so I'm kind of cleaning out my closet and sort of realizing that the amount of like belongings and things in my apartment are just sort of like layers that are kind of blocking me spending time with myself and trying to do any of this work. So I'm hopeful that once I sort of get, you know, my apartment cleaned out, that will kind of like leave some space for some deeper work. And so I guess I did finally yesterday at least just allow a little bit of space for this. And I think Heidi maybe mentioned the questioning, and just very simple, like which way to turn on my walk. And just kind
Yeah.
of like letting that happen instead of, questioning, well, why do I want to go on that way on my walk? It doesn't matter, just turn that way. So
Yeah,
starting small.
that's good. That's good. Being playful with your intuition. I do the same thing. I'll do that with driving as well. Where do I want to turn? Where do I want to go? And sometimes for me, driving can be meditative. I'll just get in the car and I'll say, okay, I'm going north, and y'all tell me which exit to take. And distraction's a familiar one, Claire. That's something I use as well. And one of the conversations I have with myself when I find myself in distraction is I acknowledge it and I say, wow, I'm really holding what wants to be known at arm's length. This is going to be big. And then I start to characterize what's coming in. Oh, this is going to be fun. And I start to build excitement so that I can talk myself into opening the door and peeking through a little bit. It's always a quantum leap through one of our core opportunities. And opportunities for me is synonymous with fears, right? What wants to be known, what's going to be offered to me and asked if I want to play in a new arena. Where are you going, by the way? Where's your trip?
It's starting off in Malaysia, and then kind of playing it by ear for a couple weeks after that. So
I
don't have
love
firm plans.
Malaysia. Are you going to Kuala Lumpur?
That I'm hoping to. Yeah, that's not where my trip is based, but after my planned part is over, I might try to go there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I once you get into Southeast Asia, everything's so readily available. I lived out there for a while, so
Oh,
fun.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's beautiful. Have fun. I
Thank
can't
you.
wait to hear about all your shenanigans.
Thank you.
Hmm. All right. Who's next?
I can share, Teresa.
Yeah.
I'm trying to summarize the long journey and the short path of last week. So what my intuition is speaking to me about is I got this clear message. You know, girl, the way you used to do stuff, yeah, well, that's not workable anymore. And I thought, wow, which stuff? I mean, there's a lot of ways I used to do stuff. So I'm considering this opportunity that's been a part of my journey for over 20 years. And every time I thought about it, I said, do you really want to do that? Well, I got a message last Tuesday morning that said, something is shifting, and what is mine to do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I realized that there might be a piece of it that I could pursue right here in the confines of North Dakota, where I live. And I sat with that for a couple days and I waited till about the deadline to put my name in. And then when I got the application material to serve on a board, when I got the application material, I went into, oh my, this feels so corporate. And I sat with it. And it felt like Grace Ann 1.0. And I was even thinking, can I play the game like I used to play the game in corporate, right?
Yeah.
And the funny part about the stuff that I used to do is, and I'm thinking I should call all my friends and send them a deep apology, because I would call people and talk about it and talk about it and talk about it and get their input and talk about it and talk about it. I mean, then I go to the next person, talk about it, because I didn't know intuition.
Yeah.
I didn't know instinct. I didn't know trust and faith. So I've saved it for just 2 friends. And neither one of them got it either. And I was laughing hysterically when I hung up the phone. Seriously, I sat and laughed about it. And I thought, this is, Grace Ann, this is strictly intuition. There's nobody to talk to but yourself. And what does yourself and your guides and your spirits, what do they see on this journey for you?
Yeah.
And perhaps the board, being on the board isn't it, but perhaps just getting the message to the board is it. And so the trust piece is big.
Yeah.
And nothing, it's not earth shattering. Nothing goes completely haywire if I do nothing. It's just an opportunity this time, may come again, may not. And I'm okay with that. That's where I've gotten to. I'm okay with that.
Wow.
And so I don't know if that really, but I have found myself out loud saying, intuition, let's talk. Or intuition, let's sit with it. And just like I am putting that word out there. I've even said it in a group of pickleball friends and they're all staring at me. Okay. So I'm out there. I'm out there saying this is a state of being.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's what I would put in the circle of share. Right.
Well, congratulations. What a tremendous evolution from the old paradigm into what you're choosing for yourself now, right?
Mhm, mhm.
And it's fascinating to me that by letting go of expectations and the prescription for how it has always been done leaves room for so much more.
Mhm,
And I am going to be fascinated to see how this evolves for you
mhm.
because it feels very pivotal. Does that make sense?
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah. Wow.
So your phrase, Teresa, what we wants us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that to me is that's the pendulum shift right there.
Yeah.
Because the
Yeah.
universe, when we want something that doesn't want us, the universe always puts that stuff in the path that you have to stumble over or wait for something to work or whatever.
Yeah.
When it feels hard or
Yep.
like a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we have to effort
Yes.
to, yeah,
That's the word. If we have to effort, for sure.
yeah. If we have to effort, it's probably not for us.
I'll take the other E word and say when there's ease,
Yeah.
when there's ease. Okay, I'm writing that down. My new E word.
I love that, Grace Ann. That is fascinating. Oh, yeah. Yep. Please let me know how things go. I'm gonna be very interested to see. Thank you. All right. Who's next? Yeah.
Hello. Boy, all of this has just hit such a mark today. The words that come up are just highlighting what the week has been like and the awakening. And Grace Ann, if you've read Elizabeth Gilbert's Big Magic, you're in there. You're in there in the chapter. On these ideas are floating around and you might pick them up and you might not. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh
I
my
know.
goodness.
I know. I completely know.
I love it.
Oh, this kills me. I love it. But it is. It's that all this is in the universe. And I mean, and some of it is so hard. I have to get through some of this stuff. That is hard. Takes effort
Mhm.
because either I've not been in this place before or there's other people that I am working with that we need to effort to make a common place and a new awakening and like you said to pivot. And if you pivot but it's too crunchy, of course you need to move on. But if you pivot and you find a flow in there, it's so rewarding and you know makes it easier to do the connecting and the play. Probably not making any sense, but what
You
my
are.
piece was to find to find the alignment with my flow and then to move through this and to put my plan from the MBA into place of what I want to do, but I have to feel centered and grounded to be able to work with spirit to move through that.
Mhm.
I did it before creating a private practice and that exploded into something beyond what I thought it would. It was amazing. So I really believe we're all working in this universe. And I think that there's a lot moving and changing. And it's up to us just to hold on.
Yeah.
Buckle up.
Yeah, buckle up, Buttercup.
Yeah.
I love, Anne, that you've introduced a concept that we haven't talked about, and that is timing. Is it right timing? right?
Well, how many, when I started my private practice, I knew from wisdom that there would be false starts. And when something didn't fall into place, I knew it was a false start. And you step back, either keep marketing or you keep doing something, and then the timing of it falls into place.
Yep.
And that's the alignment.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's that darn patience again.
So when I think of that divine timing and being patient, which is listen, I'm not patient. That's not my strength. The universe knows
Me
this.
either. Who is? Anybody?
Yeah. I'm great when I have context for something. If I can give it context, it makes me feel better about the situation. So the context that I put patience in is, oh, the universe hasn't finalized laying out everything that needs to be in place for me to move into this. So what can I do to self-nurture? What can I do to self-care? What can I do to learn something or do something that supports the evolution of this, even if I'm not taking steps to execute? Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah, beautiful concept. I love that. Thank you, Anne. And you're doing so great. I just want you to know that. You're on mute, but I kind of got what you said.
Oh, now I'm not.
You're
I
not?
appreciate that. I have dogs in the background and I have birds singing, and so I'll be on mute.
Thank you. All right, Andrea or Rupa, would either of you like to share? And it's not a requirement. You don't have to.
Yeah, I
Andrea?
can share. So much of this conversation is really lining up with things that unfolded this week. The alchemy that was spoken about, that Anik spoke about. And also Claire about cleaning her apartment. So I had gone through a stack of papers that I've had beside my desk and in a box of stuff that I've just researched out of just my own passion and interest and curiosity to dig deep into other topics. I did my HeartMath certified training in the summer, last summer. So I had all that training and the IMBA and another course I took. So I went through all the paperwork and I thought, this feels so good just to purge and to just organize.
Yeah.
So I went through the house and there's this picture hanging on the wall in my front room and it's like a dandelion wish, right? But the frame is a little crooked because I moved quite a few times in the last couple of years. So I thought, you know what? That doesn't serve a place in my life because it's broken or it's warped, right? So I want to replace that with something that's not, right? So I have this canvas that I bought. It's 4 feet by 4 feet. I haven't done anything with it yet. I've prepped it, but I haven't done anything with it yet. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to put this blank canvas up on the wall because I feel like that's where I am right now. I don't know where I'm going, but there's big magic happening, right? So I thought, you know what? The IMBA is coming to a close. I need to catch up on some of the replays that I missed, some of the calls. So I listened to the one with Melissa Bernstein, and she talked about having this blank canvas. And I said, shut up. I just put up a blank canvas on my wall, but it aligned with my thought of what it represented, right? With what she spoke about. So, and then today when you were speaking about when you're channeling and being in service and awakening humanity at this time, and I guess a lot of people, when they realize they're on this path, they feel like, oh, I have to do something about health, you know, in the health and wellness. I have to do something in yoga. I have to do something with Reiki. You know what I mean? That's the
Yeah.
way I'm going to wake up people. And it's not. And I love how you said the grocery store, because that hit a mark with me too, the grocery store. It doesn't matter. It's how we show up, right?
Yeah.
And I love how you said the grocery store, because when my daughter comes grocery shopping with me, she always tells me, stop making that creepy smile. And I'm like, what creepy smile? She's like, you're holding on to the cart and you're like, just, you know, like floating and you have this smile. I said, because I'm happy. I said, look at everyone around us. I said, no one's smiling, you know, but I just find joy in no matter what I do. So, and I mean, sure, I have days where I may feel grumpy or feel a little off, but for the most part, like I'm just grateful to be here, you know, and to have this experience and to see other humans, you know. So I love how all of that just kind of meshed with my life. And I want to just let you guys know about a dream that I had, and it was a lucid dream. And actually, someone had told me yesterday that they see white crystalline light coming in through my chakra and that you're receiving a lot right now. And I said, that made sense to me. That resonated with me. So last night when I went to sleep, or at least I thought I was sleeping, as soon as I closed my eyes, I saw myself driving. And I was driving down a road and it started to get dark and my headlights were illuminating the road in front of me. But as I kept driving, the headlights started to dim. And eventually I'm driving in the dark and I'm like, I can't see where I'm going. So I knew I was dreaming and I caught into that. I'm like, hold on, I know I'm dreaming. So why don't I bring in that crystalline white light from my crown chakra to illuminate the road? So I just pictured myself driving with this white light just coming out of my crown and it's just illuminating the road in front of me. And at first it dimmed quite quickly. And then I told myself again, pull up that white light, illuminate your road. And I thought it was so cool that I had that much control in what I was dreaming or what I was seeing. So was that a dream or was that a vision? Because I don't believe I could have fallen asleep that quickly, but it was amazing that I closed my eyes and just a few moments later, I saw myself driving.
I call it lucid dreaming, exactly the phrase that you used. And I'm finding more and more people are moving into that lucid dreaming state where they're actually in control of everything that's going on around them. And it becomes more of a prescriptive dream as well as an informative dream. So that is brilliant, Andrea. I love that. And I'm going to state the obvious just because I don't want to assume anything. Like that is such a metaphor for where you're at right now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
using your crown to shine, opening your crown and shining bright will draw to you those things that are ready for you to step into.
I love that. Yeah. There's so much more that unfolded this week, but we'll just leave it at that.
Oh my
Thank you for that. Yeah, it's just incredible. Like the synchronicities and, you know, I love it.
Yeah, I do too. Thank you for sharing that and introducing that concept of, I call it dancing with the universe. We're lucid dreaming, we're dancing with the universe in co-creation. And it's a mutual teaching and learning opportunity. Phenomenal. Love it. Rupa, would you like to share?
Yeah. Sorry, I was trying to think how to make this succinct, but it's gonna go a little wide.
Perfect.
It's been a tough week. My dad's still in the hospital. And I actually had plans to go meet my best friend from high school in Vegas. So it felt weird to go, but I did. And then her mom had a heart attack while we were there. And so it's just been one of those things where it's like, I keep trying to like find the easy, find the fun, and that's just not how it is right now. So yeah, I get weepy a lot. You know, and I've tried to kind of ask, like, what do I want next? Where am I heading? All of those questions. And I just, in the past, I've heard my guides, like, I can't really hear them now, but I still feel them. Like, I feel them just
Mhm.
like next to me, walking with me.
Yeah.
And I feel like one of the things that has come through is this question of, like, what does belonging to myself look like? Because I think I keep, you know, I feel like we all have done the checklist of like, oh yeah, if I do this with school, if I have this relationship, if I do this with
Yeah.
work, like I'll feel better, things will make sense. And I think I was doing that with energy work too. And I think what's opening now for me is that that's not going to be it either.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's the belonging to myself, maybe it's something else, but I feel like there's a grounding. And when I was emailing with you a little bit, I realized too, like, it kind of keeps going back to me that like, it's been really hard for me to want to be on this planet. Like since I was a little
Yeah.
kid, I just don't want to be here.
Yeah.
But I keep feeling like I signed up for something, so I better do it. But
Yeah.
you know, that feeling of like, if we have to effort, it's not for us. Like, I feel like everything is effort. I don't want to like do anything but like lie on my couch and stare out the window.
Yeah.
And eat terrible food. Right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
so
I relate. Mm-hmm.
um so yeah, I'm trying to kind of take myself back to this. What does that mean? I've been listening to Brene Brown's Atlas of the Heart, and that happened to come up, you know, so maybe that was kind of the drop in for me. Her chapter on belonging
Yeah.
and heartbreak.
Yeah.
And I guess the one maybe directional thing that I want to play with a little bit is last summer, I wrote some children's stories thinking like, how can I take some of the like shitty lessons and turn it into something consumable for my tiny niece?
Yeah.
And so I wrote them, like they felt channeled, like they just came straight through. And I had mentioned it to my boss, who's also my friend, like in this consulting gig. And she brought it up again yesterday, and I was like, you know, maybe that's something to focus on for right now, just to have a thing. Because I feel like just feeling and paying attention to what's happening right now is like miserable. So yeah, that's it. Sorry.
No, it's perfect. And I want to acknowledge not feeling like you want to be here on the planet. Have lived that for so many years. And I promise you it will shift. And you are doing all the things to shift that. It's where you are now. My offer is keep going. Keep going and find the joy in the little things like the books. My sense is also that there is a tremendous rearrangement going on in your life, that this is a pivotal time for things to move and grow and evolve. And it literally seeing Tetris, how everything is going to fit together a little bit differently. So be patient. It's happening. It doesn't look like it and it doesn't feel like it. And find supportive community. Like I have the Trust Circle on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Come join us. Just hang out with people like this so that you feel in the conversation and supported, even if you don't say anything. That's important. Don't, when I went through that very dark night of the soul, I was isolated because I didn't have a community. And it was also at a time where I couldn't have these conversations. So I was, and that's also my life's lesson is I self-isolate. So my recommendation is not to do that. Does that resonate and help at all?
It does. I feel like I'm such a downer though. Like you guys are telling these beautiful stories and I'm like,
No.
you know, I think that's part of the self-isolation, right? It's like I don't
It-
want to take people down that hole if they're not already there.
Yep, 100%. And we have all, I have been there a dozen times. It's part of the evolutionary process. When we go through these big leaps into what we're meant to be doing, it's moving through all the fears and anxieties and frustrations at a new level so that you redefine your relationship with them and they no longer become defining and prescriptive and directive. You move into what are the assets, what is the wisdom that came with that experience, and the wisdom grows and evolves. That's and when you're in it, you don't see that. You don't feel it, it's not present. But don't pitch a tent, keep going. Because you're doing really great because you're showing up for yourself. Okay, I'm going to hit pause because okay, so Rowan says thank you very much. He's so much happier. Poor dog. So I'm going to go into channel, and if you have specific questions of my guides, you can ask, and you can ask general questions, but they just want to open the door for you to receive the support that you wish to ask for. And Heidi, if you would moderate and just, or people can speak up.
Absolutely.
Yes, we are welcoming the questions because we want you to feel and know and experience the level of support that is available to you, the amount of co-creation that is occurring even in this very instant. For you are all continuously shifting and growing, and as stated in the beginning, you are all light workers. And you are way showers. And you are here to help the evolution of humanity. And for that, we commend you. Do we have questions at this time?
Teresa, I'll kick us off here. You know, the question after listening to everyone comment and share really what's going on in their worlds at the moment is there's something very special about this group this time. I've done several of these classes with you. And if we could ask the guides, is there something unique about the people that showed up? You touched a little bit on it on the original channel that was done before the class started. And I'd like a little more information on that if you could share with the group.
Indeed. And we are pleased that you have introduced this line of inquiry because we asked Teresa many weeks ago, many being 4 or 5, to do this class again, specifically because there was additional energies that were meant to be brought in. And in fact, there were specific people who are coming into their own in ways that are unfamiliar to them, and having the opportunity to step into a group environment and be with, oh, hold on. Other goddess energies. Teresa is hesitating at that word. It is not meant from the female perspective, it is specifically the goddess, the goddess, the divine feminine, the one who co-creates from receivership rather than overt action. She is the power that stands with open arms, allowing that which wants to be expressed through her to manifest, not only in your own lives. How do you open yourself to receive that which is for you to do? This is a new paradigm, as you have been discussing, and it is very much about anchoring the goddess energy. And we acknowledge that whether you are listening, and we know there are a few in male form, this too applies with you. It is not about your sexuality, the gender you chose. This is about the energy of the goddess. Is that clear?
Yes.
Very good. And Teresa channels. Here we go. The human evolution is accelerating rapidly, much more so than originally planned. And we are pleased. It is I, the goddess, who wishes to have an audience with you as we move into a time of great systemic change, bringing the energy of the goddess, of the being, of the opening, of the allowing, of the self-healing from natural remedies, including cultivating belonging. It is essential to embrace this deeper part of energetic being. For many, many millennia, the patriarchy has stepped in and manipulated, controlled, prescribed, abused, and used. Now it is time to raise the feminine energy, the goddess of compassion, collaboration, cooperation, community. What you are doing through this recording, whether you are present now or you are present listening later, the community, the reverberations of energies that are transmitted into the earthly planes when you come into community is so great and profound. Harness these ways of being, these seas that we have shared with you, seas as in what you visualize, seas as what ebbs and flows, the seas of compassion, collaboration, cooperation, community, all of these bringing us together in this new, incredibly beautiful way where you can hold each other through the challenges, knowing that the wisdom will be mined, that it will inform, and in fact, to our dear, dear Rupa, it will inform that which wants to be birthed through you. The wisdom of what you are learning in this experience, the kindness, the compassion, the honoring of self, the ability to choose self first without the heretofore behaviors of shame. These are the energies that are anchoring onto the planet. And this is why we have brought to you together this time. We celebrate, we honor that which you are bringing to the planet. And know that there are contingents of angels and sisters of the light, a divine organization focused specifically on feminine divinity, who stand at the ready. And in fact, many of you are part of this sisterhood. When you hear the word sisterhood of light, can you feel? Does it resonate within you? This is a time of systemic change, and it will last for 50 years. The catalyst for the evolution has started. And this is simply a call for your participation. And we thank you for knowing the call is there and honoring as it unfolds. Do we have additional questions that wish to be asked based on what has been shared, or opening a new line of inquiry?
Anik, you want to go?
Of course, yes, thank you. So I would offer two questions. My first would be, so a lot of this is new to me, and I'm wondering if guides would tend to be more within, so the voice that, or the intuitions coming from within, or for instance, would I encounter, or other in this group encounter guides in terms of some readings or actual people who guide us? And my second question is about discernment. And I mentioned it's still a learning process for me. And I'm wondering, for instance, I have this opportunity at the end of the month to join a group. So it's a community, whereas in a few months it will be a recording, but it's not about healing and any stuff. It's about climate scenario analysis. So very much in the concrete, and what I've been doing most of my for the past few years. And I'm trying to discern, is because there is a community, so is how to have more discernment on the path to choose. Is that clear?
It is clear. And we thank you for your question, and we honor the path that you have chosen for yourself, for it is indeed unfolding before you. And as to your first question of how to receive information, and as you can probably tell, it is us, the 99. We are back. We are back in the driver's seat, and we'll be fielding the rest of the questions. And you will receive information in all of those ways and more. We will use whatever tool we can to communicate with you that which is optimal for you to know in the moment. This can come in the form of books. And a game Teresa plays both with books and tarot cards is she will simply open a book and say, "What would you like me to know now?" Open it, and a passage will be revealed to her with information pertinent for that which she is inquiring about, or for that moment. She sometimes gets playful and just says, "Well, just tell me something new." And we do. There will also come information that bubbles from within. This is your aptitude for direct knowing. for connecting in with your soul and your soul's whisperings, the universal whisperings, and your guides whispering within you. We will also come in the form of billboards and people. You will be in that grocery store again, and you will overhear a conversation, think, well, they're saying that for me. I don't know what conversation they're having, but I needed to hear that. Information from your guides comes in all sources, in all ways. Now, as you cultivate and grow this, and by the way, you are doing exceptionally well. You say you are a beginner, but you are not. You are doing very, very well, and we thank you for your efforts. As you move into discernment about this new opportunity we offer you, because this is a free will place, we cannot tell you, do this, do that. What we can offer you is tools for you to mine this information. And this is in alignment with Teresa's soul's mission, which is to awaken within you the wisdom that you need. There is a meditation that she teaches to all, and it is the either or meditation where you go in and you stand clearly in your happy place. And you have a timeline that is situated moving out from you like a golden brick road. That is your optimal timeline. Move into this place of complete flow and peace. And then you stepped to the left and you say, how would I feel if I said no to this opportunity? And you feel all the feels and you get all the knowing and you hear all the information and you see the things that want to be seen. And then you use that information, you put it in a little bubble and you say, thank you. And then you step back to your optimal place and you move back into that state of peace on your optimal timeline. And then you step to the right and you say, what if I said yes to this opportunity? How would I feel? What would it be? And you get all the feelings, knowings, seeings, hearings, all of the information, and then you put that in a bubble. And then you have two bubbles and you move back to your optimal timeline and you say, bubble A, bubble B. Which one do I like? Chocolate or vanilla? I think I will take vanilla today. Or I think I will take chocolate. But what will be apparent is how that opportunity resonates with you. This is an excellent way of stepping into discernment. And discernment, as Teresa mentioned earlier, will continuously evolve for you. You will hone your levels of discernment because even as you learn to be discerning in specific situations, because of the new energies coming onto the planet, because of the change you are going through, the landscape from which you discern will constantly be changing, which is why it is important to ever evolve discernment. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Very clear.
Excellent. Thank you. Excellent questions. We appreciate that. Is there anyone else?
Rupa, are you okay if I read the question that you posted for the group? Rupa would like to know, when I hear a message, sometimes negative or scary, how do I discern what is a voice to listen to or ignore?
This is a wonderful question, Rupa, and we thank you for posing it because it is a, in Teresa's words, an opportunity that arises for many, many, many. Many. And what we counsel is that if you can put space between the emotion and the message, we do not, what we are saying is when you receive a scary or fearful message, you respond with an emotion. The optimal way of knowing the message in that fear-based thing is to say, hello, emotion. I know you're afraid, but I need you to step aside so that I can understand why this showed up. Now, if there's a tiger in the front yard, you know why. It is your primal instincts kicking in. If there is no tiger, and there's still a fear response, then you have the opportunity of stepping away from the emotion, getting completely neutral, holding the fear information in a bubble outside of your personal energy bubble. And there are meditations that Teresa can offer you for this. Holding it in a bubble in front of you and asking, what message do you have for me? And if you receive a message, say thank you, you're dismissed. It is free will. You can ask it to leave. If it persists, you didn't get enough of the message. If it persists again and you believe your message is complete, you say, thank you. I do not choose this experience. You are dismissed. And you may call upon your guides, your gatekeeper, certainly, and any beings to help you move through this. Now, we want to take a step back, because when we understand when you are human, moving from the fear response is often quite challenging. We offer this, Teresa calls it a pattern interrupt. In your mind, ask yourself, what is my next thought? That statement immediately halts any emotional mental loop that is existing in your brain. It stops it from continuing. And then you are at choice. And we offer, the choice might be, I choose peace. I choose distance from that experience. And then when you are in that settled place, you can then revisit it from a distance. The key is not to allow an energetic connection. And in fact, you may want to cut cords. You may want to dismiss it from your energy fields. Teresa will be offering a clearing energy that you can do to move through and cleanse your personal energy spaces, which will allow you to interact with that experience from a neutral place. Does this suffice as an answer? And again, fear is an emotional response, so you definitely want to come from that neutral space. Does this suffice as a response?
Sometimes what I hear doesn't have any emotion, but it's feels like if I did that, it would be terrible.
This feels like trickster energy. It feels like astral energies that are not beneficial, and we would offer that you dismiss them. Does that resonate? How does that feel when you hear that answer?
That feels right. I think the question is, sometimes I can't always tell if it's trickster versus someone else. If there's a clearer way to know, when I don't have an actual feeling, it's more my mind evaluating, why would anyone say that?
Yes. If you're questioning why would anyone say that, it is likely an astral being or trickster energy. And say, you're fired, you're dismissed, goodbye.
Okay.
Clear your energies, use whatever tools. There's so many. Binaural beats is one of Teresa's favorites. There are meditations, chakra cleansings. There are, and she will give you a link for hers. There are optimal solutions for that period, and continually keeping your energies clean and clear. And one of the tools Teresa offers is Teflon on the outside of your personal energy bubble, so that things like those astral tricksters simply bounce off and cannot penetrate. That is self-care. And watch thoughts. What are you thinking? The doomsday scrolling that is described, or the negative pattern thinking, can attract this type of astral being. So, and we're not saying don't think negative thoughts. We are offering to watch your negative thoughts. Do not allow them to become prescriptive, and do not allow them more of an audience than they deserve.
Okay. Thank you.
Very good.
Claire?
Sure. Yeah, I guess I was curious, in situations like this or when working with our guides, like how to balance looking for answers to specific questions versus being patient and sort of letting experiences open up over time.
Mm. The perspective we would offer is that the human mind can only hold a small amount of possibilities. So being open to infinite possibilities that the universe, your guides, your soul can offer is always optimal. And we understand this is free will and you have preferences. Yes, I would like to have a red car. I don't want a green car. And so this becomes the negotiation of manifestation. If you ask for something and you patiently wait and it shows up a little bit differently than you ask, you can say, no, thank you. I would really like XYZ. Well, we offer, if we still do not give you XYZ, but instead give you LMNOP, consider if that might be the optimal next step towards XYZ. You do not have to take your original request off the table, but we would ask you to consider that the next step might be a little bit different than that which you're asking for. Does that resonate?
I guess maybe it's more with the discernment question. Like if I'm trying to decide something, is it better to like ask my guides like yes or no, or to like look for small signs and kind of wait and see how things play out over, the patience piece versus wanting to know, make a decision today.
Yes, immediately. It is the instant gratification that humans desire so much. And we would offer either or. You can ask for instant gratification. Teresa will laugh that we are sharing this with you, but she does not mind. She will go on to Google and ask for the yes, no toggle, the website, and she will ask her question and we will give her the answer through that if she wishes for instant gratification. And often she will say, okay, now I'm still not sure. And she will ask again and again, and sometimes again and again. So the answer can come in any form you wish. You can open a book and ask for a passage. You can ask to hear purple as you are walking out on the streets or see the color purple. It can come in any fashion you wish. And it is your choice whether to trust it. And in that trust, take that step. And in that step, open the new doors. Does that answer your question or
Yes, thank you.
give you more options than you asked for?
Yes, thank you.
You are welcome. Claire, we applaud the steps that you have taken in these many months. You are doing wonderful things for yourself. Are there any other questions?
It doesn't look like at this time there's other questions. Teresa, thank you, and thank you to the guides and for the channeling today. It's been really helpful, informative, and I think reassuring for all of us that are on this path.
Such a fun playground, I have to tell you. Okay. So the Trust Circle is available. You know, I didn't finish the PowerPoint again. I just need to give up on that thing. In the email I send out with the recording, I'll include a link. There is 3 mini workshops that I'll offer for you. And I'll include the link for the Trust Circle. Find your tribe, find your people, and be supported and keep going. You guys are just doing amazing things. And thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing not only your time, but yourself. It makes a difference.
Thank you.
Blessings, everyone.